Welcome back, Focused IT Pros. Today, we're jumping right into this explainer on part 7 of the absolutely fantastic 10-part tutorial, IPv6 Transition, Scaling the Modern Global Network, an introduction for the IT professional. If you're following along, you know this series is presented by Virtualization Options, LLC, which is a Colorado-based technology research, education, and advisory organization. Now, assuming you've got a solid baseline in networking and you're getting ready to support your organization's big migration from IPv4 to IPv6, well, you are in the exact right place. We're actually putting away the theory we covered in previous chapters today. We are focusing exclusively on Chapter 7, Troubleshooting Modern IPv6 Networks. We're going to arm you with exactly what you need when things inevitably go wrong.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're building a literal diagnostic toolkit today to resolve specific IPv6 failure patterns. We'll start with the troubleshooting mental model, then move to essential OS command toolkits, fixing missing default routes, fixing unexpected IPv4 fallbacks, and finally fixing large transfer hangs.
All right, Section 1, the troubleshooting mental model, setting the stage for IPv6 diagnostics.
So before we even think about typing a single line of code, we really have to recognize something crucial. Your legacy IPv4 troubleshooting instincts, yeah, they aren't always going to save you here. The source material is super explicit about this. When IPv6 breaks, you need the right commands, sure, but more importantly, you need the right mental model. It's not just about, memorizing a new set of ping commands. It's about fundamentally understanding how IPv6 operates under the hood so your troubleshooting logic actually aligns with the protocol's design. Moving right along to Section 2, Essential OS Command Toolkits, the Command Armory.
To actually execute on this new mental model we just talked about, we need to map our diagnostic commands across the major operating systems. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the critical shift right at the command line level. Notice how we're using netshish interface IPv6 show neighbors in Windows, and IP-6 nay show in Linux or Mac OS. This represents a massive, and I mean massive, architectural change. Because IPv6 completely replaces the old ARP protocol with neighbor discovery. Grasping how to view that neighbor cache, that is exactly where real IPv6 diagnostics begin. Let's hit Section 3, Fix, Missing Default Routes, the missing route. Let's put these shiny new tools to use, shall we? You're at your desk and you're wondering, why on earth is the default route missing from the routing table? We've all been there, and it is incredibly frustrating when a machine seemingly just refuses to route traffic off the local subnet. You check the interface, you see a perfectly valid IPv6 address, the link is clearly up, but any internet-bound traffic just drops dead. Why does this happen?
Well, here is exactly what's happening. The default route is genuinely just missing. It's not there. To fix it, you need to verify that the router advertisement, the RA, actually includes the default route flag. Remember, and this is a big one, in IPv6, the default gateway often comes from the router's RA, not your DHCPv6 server. So seriously, stop troubleshooting DHCP. Go check those M and O flags instead. Now, if you need an immediate quick fix while you're sorting out the router configuration, you can simply add a static ::/0 route pointing directly to your gateway.
Section 4, Fix, Unexpected IB4 Fallbacks, the fake IPv6 connection. I want you to frame this mystery in your mind for a second. IPv6 is actively being advertised to the endpoint. The machine gets the message, maybe it even configures an address. But then, it completely ignores it for actual traffic. It just stubbornly prefers IPv4. Why is your machine effectively lying to you about its IPv6 capability?
So the crucial point is understanding a very specific algorithm that was actually designed to save the day for the end user. It's called Happy Eyeballs. Now, Happy Eyeballs is an algorithm that correctly falls back to IPv4 if IPv6 is being advertised but isn't actually routing successfully end-to-end. It brilliantly protects the user experience. They don't even notice a drop. But for us as administrators, it actively masks underlying IPv6 routing failures. It's a bit of a frenemy in that way. The core cause here is that IPv6 is being advertised locally, but it just isn't routing all the way to the destination. Fixing this requires some precision. First, you need to check your RFC 6724 policy table to understand exactly how the host prioritizes addresses. But more importantly, you have to verify that your end-to-end IPv6 routing is rock solid before you go publishing your DNS Quad A records. Think about it. If you publish the record but the route is broken, Happy Eyeballs will just silently bail you out to IPv4. Your users won't complain, but your IPv6 deployment is effectively a ghost. Bringing us to Section 5, Fix Large Transfer Hangs, the silent choke. So why do connections inexplicably hang during large transfers? Think about how bizarre this looks in practice. The network seems completely fine for small packets, right? Your terminal commands are snappy, pings are going through, but the exact second a user tries to download a file or load a data-heavy web page, the connection just completely stalls out and dies. The culprit here is almost always ICMPv6 type 2, the packet too big message. This is the critical message required for path MTU discovery to function correctly, and this brilliantly illustrates how blocking essential ICMPv6 messages breaks the network entirely. See, in IPv6, routers do not fragment packets. Not anymore. If a packet is too large for a link, the router just drops it and sends this exact ICMPv6 message back to the source host, basically saying, hey, shrink this down and try again. So the real cause of this silent choke? ICMPv6 type 2 is being blocked somewhere along your path. And honestly, it's usually by an overzealous security rule carried over from the legacy IPv4 days. When this happens, path MTU discovery fails silently. The sender never gets the memo to shrink the packet, so it just keeps blindly sending oversized packets that keep getting dropped. The fix here is absolutely non-negotiable, folks. Stop blocking ICMPv6. Your endpoints literally rely on this to function. When your standard command line tools fail to paint the full picture of these silent drops or missing routes, the source material strongly advises falling back to the ultimate source of truth, Wireshark. Taking a packet captured directly on the wire will definitively show you if an ICMPv6 Type 2 message is actually being sent or if those critical router advertisements are truly hitting your host's network interface.
So the big question is, are you ready to deploy your new diagnostic toolkit and confidently scale your IPv6 infrastructure? You now know that legacy mindsets just won't cut it anymore. You have the OS-specific commands, and you know exactly how to hunt down those missing routes, bypass the deception of happy eyeballs, and finally unblock path MTU discovery. So what silent IPv6 failures are currently hiding on your network, masked by sneaky IPv4 fallbacks? Take these tools, capture some packets today, and find out for sure. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Catch you next time.